Oh, hey, hi, I'm Jalen Johnston. No secret, I do a lot with guitars lately, finding stuff that needs little fixes or its first proper setup, picking those up for the good deals, giving them the love that they need to play their best, sending them on to new homes. In those endeavors, I do tend to come across parts. Sometimes I need parts for a fix. Sometimes it's just I'm looking for deals on stuff anyways, and I run across deals on parts as well as complete guitars. And I have now accumulated enough parts that it's time for a parts caster build, and I'm pretty excited about it. Let me take you through all this stuff that I've been accumulating over the past few months that I'm finally going to put together today. So blame my high singing voice, I guess, but I've become obsessed with baritone guitars. And this is actually a baritone replacement neck for a standard Stratocaster. Fender stopped really making baritones and just started selling bolt-on replacement necks instead, which is probably better business for them. But these tend to be a bit pricey. But I was able to pick this one up for about half of what it goes for new, with some of the hardware. And I say some of the hardware because it clearly took a bonk. You can see some of the locking tuning mechanisms there. That one's a little bit bent. That one has broken off. This one is missing. And there's a little tiny, let's see if I can zoom it, tiny crack right here where the little post goes in. Not even, I mean, you can see how much difficulty I'm getting in even trying to get it to focus. There it is. Just enough that if I squeeze it, you can get it closing up a little bit better. So I'm going to have to replace those tuning machines and do a little bit of glue in there. But good news, there's actually like a liquidation auction house that deals in Amazon returns pretty close to where I live. And a set of replacement locking Fender tuning machines popped up and nobody bid against me. So after tax and the additional fees, I got a brand new set, not brand new, a used return set that is, like new, I guess, for less than $2. So that's pretty awesome. So that's gonna go on the baritone neck itself. Then the other day, I noticed a loaded pickguard for a Stratocaster had been returned to Amazon, and they were selling it as they sell them as used returns, but this one is still factory sealed. You can see the little Amazon label on there. I think maybe what happened is somebody never got around to using this part, but the packaging itself is a little bit crunched. But I'm such a sucker for pearl pickguards. This is actually the David Gilmour loaded pickguard that is sold. I think they go for like $350. Active pickups, which is interesting, won't be the standard Stratocaster tone, but the David Gilmour tone that he's famous for. And picked this one up for, I think, less than $250. So a good $100 discount for something still in its factory shrink wrap, right? Just trying to piece this all together. So obviously now the last piece is going to be the body of the guitar. With this being a baritone Stratocaster neck, I wanted to give it a little bit more sustain than I think might come out of the standard tremolo system on a normal Strat. So I started keeping an eye out for hardtail bodies for a Strat. Technically, I could have put this neck onto a Telecaster body. The neck heel is shaped a little bit different. You can see there's a little bit of a rounding on this one. Tellies are flat. You can put these into a Telly body, but then there's a little bit of a gap in the neck pocket, which visually, I like my stuff to look nice. I wanted it to match. So kept an eye out for hardtail Stratocaster bodies and kind of found the perfect candidate finally. So what did I get? Check it out. This is the Robert Cray signature Stratocaster in Inca Silver. I'm like obsessed with this Inca Silver color. I had a Strat 20 or something years ago, I'm old, that had this Inca Silver, and I put a pearl pickguard on it, and I just loved it. I never fell in love with the Strat itself, but I just loved looking at it. Ultimately, I sold it because I'm like, you don't buy guitars just to look at them. But, I mean, the pearl pickguard with this Inca silver, I'm pretty excited about that pairing again. Now this one, I paid about market value for this. You can see it does have hardware on it. Got the neck plate, still got factory plastic on that neck plate. So I think this might have been something that the neck got damaged in shipment on, and so they pulled it off and parted it out. So that's it. This should be a fun little assembly due to some of the nature of this hardtail body itself and the way this pickup set works. It should be a pretty quick assembly. Just kind of screw her together. I'm gonna pop the damaged ones of these off and put the nice ones of those on. And I should be able to get this playing pretty quick. Oh man, I've just done the rough mock-up and I'm already so excited about how this thing looks. I just love that silver, that Inca silver from Fender with a pearl pickguard. So great. I mean, I gotta keep doing the actual work, but I just had to pause and be like, damn, she looked good. The one thing I have noticed, pretty much all of the pickguard holes that are already existent line up, except for this one right here. So I've gotten enough of the screws in at the critical points that I know what the alignment's going to be. It looks like there's a little bit of this screw may go in a little bit crooked, but I don't think I need to re-drill that. All of the others pretty much align perfectly, of course, except for this little pesky guy. So I'm just going to mark as close to the center as I think I can on this one. See if I can do it. Oh yeah, that looks pretty centered if if the camera would work. Yeah, a little dot is pretty well centered in the middle there. Got that now taped off, and I'll pull this pickguard back off and drill very slowly with this tape down to hopefully avoid any chip out. I've got the bit depth taped off for the pilot hole, and we'll go from there. So you can see just how different the alignment is. The original hole was there. The one I'm making is there. Just quirks of the Robert Cray body and his signature pickguard, I guess. So I'm gonna set this guy back down, set this guy to my slow speed, and just barely get in on this guy. So slow. The last thing I need is an edge catching and a big old chunk chipping out. All right, let's peel this tape back. See just how well she survived. Oh yeah, that's clean. That's a clean little pilot hole there. Stoked. There's still a chance at chip out as I go a little bigger on that hole to match the diameter of the screw. So I'm just gonna replace another piece of tape there, make sure it's all aligned perfectly with that hole. There we go. Now I can keep going a little bit bigger as I find the right final bit size to match the other holes. That's just about perfect there. You can see the others are a little bit, looks like they're countersunk, which I'm not sure is necessary because there's a pickguard that has countersunk holes already. So that may just be kind of a safety zone issue, but yeah, I think that is the right size. So I'm actually super interested to hear how active EMG pickups sound on this body that's right down here below. One of the things in order to make those work is there's an extra contact point on the 1/4 inch jack. So I've got to swap that out with the one that's here. And basically that's just so that when you plug a cable in, there's an extra contact point in the jack to tell the battery for the active system to turn on. So that's what they've included here. Looks like I got some heat shrink stuff, the 9-volt battery leads, and then a little extra TRS 1/4-inch plug that I gotta swap into this guy. All right, pretty straightforward wiring diagram. They kind of dummy proofed it, thankfully, because I can be a dummy at times. Just got our leads coming here, our 9-volt power for the active pickup itself, and they just go onto these little posts that are right there on that that printed circuit board, that PCB. So I'm going to start at the top so that I don't block access, and just to hook them up, going right down. It's all color coded. It says red and black on the top, so I got the red and black wires in the right order. Slide that one on, and then green is next. That would be this little guy. Get that guy on there. Just using my fingernail to push on the plastic housing instead of crimping the cables. And then white, black. So make sure those are facing the right way. Boom. Now before I go too much further, I want to make sure this actually works, right? Still within my return window on all these parts. So I'm just going to hook up a little 9-volt there. Got it all in there. I know it's a fresh one. I gave it a lick test. It's nice and spicy. Let's see if I can tuck these cables in temporarily. And now I've got a little workbench amp that I can plug right in here. Ooh boy, that is firm. And no strings obviously, but just do a little tap test. Yep, so just that one. Now the others should not make sound. Good. Now second position should be these two, so yep, sound from both of them. Middle, but not the others. Great. Fourth position, that's what I call it at least. Great, but not this one. Good. And now just the neck pickup. Wonderful. All works as advertised. Now here's the thing. In the tutorials and stuff I was looking up before I purchased this EMG set of David Gilmour loaded pickguard, all of those walkthroughs that I watched, there was a little foam piece that was supposed to go here to kind of lock in that 9-volt and make sure it didn't rattle around. I don't see that anywhere in the kit, so I'm gonna improvise. Just wrap the battery in bubble wrap. That'll work for now. At least get this thing up and running while I'm all excited about it and don't want to lose momentum. I mean, that's good to go. Pickups are installed. Only thing left is somewhat significant. Got to figure out this headstock scenario. So give her a flip over. Take a looky-see here. Now, these tuning machines, I mean, they're nice tuning machines. But yeah, clearly the bonk. Definitely gonna get rid of this one, pull this one off too. This one is a little dinged, but yeah, it's still good. And I got a full set here to work with. I'll probably just put this entire set on and keep some of these as spares. So let's see what I gotta do for this little crack here. I mean, really, it's not all, I don't know that it's all that structural. You can just barely see it right there, just from this little anchor post hole here. It does go through. Yeah, so you can see it just there on the bottom side there and on top side there. It's gonna be tough to get glue into, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Crack doesn't go through to the front there, so it's just barely even a thing. Yeah. Well, good trouble. Be hard to fix because honestly the problem's hard to find. Cut this off Man, it's going to be a challenge getting this crack open enough to actually work glue into there. So I'm going to just kind of use a pencil as leverage. I don't want to use anything like a screwdriver that I could put too much pressure on and make this crack worse. If I'm putting too much pressure, I would rather just snap a pencil than actually damage the headstock further. But let's give this a shot. Okay, so for starters on this, I'm going ridiculously thin on the Type Bond Original. That's probably 2/3 water, 1 part Type Bond here. Just trying to get it thin enough that I can get it down into that crack. And for that, I have this little syringe tip, not sharp, just thin. And we'll see if I can get it in there. This is going to be quite the effort. There's my 2 lines. Just hoping I can get it to wick down in. See if I can pull on this. Get it open at all. I don't know if that's doing anything. You can see I've got that little tuning machine stabilizer post hole. That's full of glue. And hoping that that can wick in. My line's here, my line's there. The glue is so thin. Not seeing any real movement, maybe just a tiny bit right on that tip over there. You can see the shape of the puddle of glue changing a little bit. So I guess that's as good a sign as any. And yeah, honestly, the little puddle on the inside in here has gone down a little bit. Glue's going somewhere. Honestly, guys, I think that's all she wrote. You can see it moving a little bit there. That little, just that little puddle changing shape as I crank on it with the pencil. So there's glue in there. I think that's about all I need. Now, just clamp this puppy up. Clean off some of the squeeze out glue. It's water soluble, so no big tragedy. And now I might actually be able to draw some of this glue back up into the syringe so that it doesn't all dry and cake that thing fully closed. Okay, well, unfortunately for my enthusiasm, I'm gonna need to let this dry. Technically, it's about, a half-hour setup time, usually, but that's if it's at full strength. I've diluted this quite a bit just to make sure I actually get glue down in there. So I think it's gonna need to be a couple of hours. And if it's a couple of hours, it's late enough that that's gonna be overnight because I'm gonna go to bed soon. We'll check in on this in the morning, do the final assembly of tuning machines, get it strung up with baritone strings, and see how she sounds. It's a brand new day. Let's see how we did. I got the clamp off and she's looking pretty good. Just kind of barely see the lines where the cracks did extend. It's pretty smooth to the touch. But yeah, now that's no longer moving. And best part, it's mostly going to be covered up by that new tuning machine. So I feel much better about that now and feel like we're ready to string her up. So got myself a fresh set of D'Addario baritone. I believe these are medium strings, 68 to 14 if you're into the numbers. Of course, the numbers don't exactly translate because it's a longer 27-inch baritone scale length. So different amounts of tension on the same thickness of string in order to get it to pitch. But yeah, great strings. Love D'Addario stuff. Not that they're sponsoring or anything like that, but just giving it a rough setup here, getting it in the right ballpark while the strings stretch. and the neck has tension on it for the first time. Side note, one of my favorite things that I've recently picked up is a tiny little Yamaha THR5 amp. Tiny little practice amp, can run on batteries, and it just sits there on the workbench. Makes this kind of stuff so easy. So I've been loving having that in the kit there. But yeah, just sighting all the lines and getting her all set. All right, folks, here she is, all strung up. I did a basic setup, obviously with the first time this little assembly has had any string tension on it or anything like that. It's probably gonna need a little bit of time to settle in, but I got it in the right ballpark. It's really cool. It's very bright, which part of that is brand new strings, but I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised by that. I may have to tone that down a little bit with a tone knob, but it's got a lot of telly vibes because of its additional brightness. So it's pretty cool. Of course, that is the bridge pickup, which is the brightest setting. But if I pull that back a little bit, neck pickup, it's got some fun growl. So there she is. Robert Cray signature body hardtail, David Gilmour EMG pickup set loaded pickguard there, subsonic maple baritone neck, Fender locking tuners, all pieced together relatively inexpensively. Everything was secondhand, and I think she's a ripper. I'm excited to have this one. I don't know if it's going to stay in my permanent collection because permanent collection's a little bit big. I don't know if anything's ever going to stay in the permanent collection, but I am loving this for now. I just love the color. I love the combo with the Inca silver and the pearl pickguard, maple neck, nice and bright sounding. Real cool. Gonna capture some of that twang while still getting that low end in there. So this is a fun one. This is a fun one. Thanks for joining me on the assembly journey. Okay, bye.